Welcome to the GRIT Crusade. So excited for you guys to be here with us today. We have an amazing guest that I can't even introduce without giggling because he's probably the funniest human on the planet. This is the David Roberts. Was it good?
Yeah, that was really good.
Was it good? Yeah. He paid me extra to do that. I'm just saying.
A lot of pressure there.
Yeah, I know, right? On the real, though, David's an incredible guy. He is a representative of our chamber on the board here in Saline County. He is an entrepreneur and a self-proclaimed party
starter.
Is that like a fire starter?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah, could fizzle out at any moment. Yeah. Could be a big flame, could fizzle out at any moment.
Party starter. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so usually my first question to people is tell us about you.
Okay.
However, you know, you being you're that kind of guy. I want you to tell us a story. So I heard this story from you lately about this thing called a moment in time.
Okay.
So you have a special project in your pocket.
Well, kind of. It hasn't taken off yet, but it does have potential. So I used to travel a lot for work, and as you know, when you travel a lot, you spend a lot of time in restaurants and or bars and hanging out and meeting a lot of people. And meeting people is one of my favorite things to do anyway, and I love getting people's story. And so I concocted this idea with a couple of other people one time to create an idea of a book called A Place in Time.
Oh, A Place in Time.
A Place in
Time.
Time.
Kind of screwed that up.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a different book. A Place in Time, where you go to a bar and in all 50 states and go to a couple of bars and just talk to people and interview them and get their story about how they ended up where they're at. But there was never really a book. But we did all the interviews just because we wanted to meet with people. And so we sold them this idea. Like, this sounds terrible. Like, if somebody's watching here that got interviewed, there is no book, okay? Yeah. But there might be at some point.
I mean, it's still a good idea.
Yeah, so we told them there was a publishing company and we had all this stuff, and you would not, well, you could probably believe, but in a bar. But the stories that we got were unbelievable, and the people we met were unbelievable, just people traveling for work or people that were places they shouldn't have been, with people they shouldn't have been. I mean, it just was crazy, but it was a lot of fun.
So, but let me get this straight. You would go over there and be like, hey, I'm David Roberts, or I'm John Smith, or whatever you made
all
up.
legit.
And they no business card, no credentials.
Business
You'd be
card.
like, I'm writing this book, and you even had a publisher that you were like.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can say because they're a real publisher, so I don't want to sell
it's like it was a big dog. Is my publisher, and we're showing up over here, and we're interviewing people about why they're here and what's going on with their life,
Right.
and people would just bleh.
Yeah, people want to tell their story, you know, and most people aren't genuinely interested in their story, and I was genuinely interested.
And then there was no book.
There's no book.
There's no book.
Mm-mm.
And
but I do have a lot of notes about it, because I would take notes on my phone.
Oh, so like it was legit, like a legit recording of all the things that's
keeping
happening.
Notes and saying like what's going on. It was fun.
So, but then you reenacted this recently again.
Yeah, not recently. A few years ago, we were going on a ski trip.
COVID.
Yeah,
kind of makes everything
that's true.
recent.
Yeah, we lost a couple years. Yeah. Going on a ski trip, and I was telling some friends about it, and we ended up in a bar. This also makes me sound bad. Like,
no,
just bar hopping?
This is yeah, kind of.
Yeah, right. So we slayed over before we got to the ski trip and stayed the night in a hotel, and we went out to eat and stayed at a bar, or hung out at a bar before we went back. And so I was telling them about it, and they were like, well, let's see it in action.
Let's try it.
Yeah,
let's
show us.
Kind of calling your BS.
But again, people want to talk, especially if they're just hanging out in a bar. And so you just strike up a conversation, and then people want to tell you how they ended up there. And people's
their whole
stories,
life.
Yeah, people's stories are fascinating. Everybody's story is fascinating.
There just was no book.
There's just no book. Well, there could be, though. Do you remember, the idea came from, do you remember, I know this is way off topic here, so you can delete all this, but do you remember when Parade magazine, when people actually read the newspaper and they had the parade in there? Okay, and they would have the section, I don't know if it was once a month or quarterly or even annually, where it had people's pictures all on the front, and it told what they did for a career, where they were at, and how much they made.
Yes, we used to get
Remember
the Democrat Gazette.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like what that kind of job pays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it said their name, where they were from in the country, and then how much their salary was.
Yep.
And I was fascinated by that, because there's so many things out there that you just don't know about.
You don't even know it's a job.
I have no idea.
Speaking of your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like totally crazy. So you founded this company called Blue Collar.
Yep.
And tell us about you, because it didn't start with you having this like cool job where he doesn't really work a lot, but he has meetings all the time.
Yep.
And so your roots were really organic.
Yes.
Yeah. So start us kind of like take us back, so we kind of figure out how this fun, awesome party starter guy came from.
Just see how the party started.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that was better. We should try that again. Let's see how the party started.
Let's get to how the party started.
Yeah, do it.
Yep. So I grew up in Southwest Little Rock, graduated from Little Rock Central High School. And after I graduated high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't a very good student and didn't perform very well in school academically. did really well socially, and so
Imagine that.
I've always liked people.
Bar.
You're right.
In the bar.
Yeah, we didn't have bars at school, but trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and ran into some people that I knew growing up that I hadn't seen in several years, and reconnected with them. And they had just started a company, or their parents did, called Advanced Cabling Systems that had just gotten the contract for the Department of Human Services and the Arkansas Department of Health to run network cabling, which now is common in every business and a necessity. But at that time, it was the first statewide centralized network of cable, which sounds really cool, but we were just running the cable at WIC offices and DHS offices to centralize the data back to Little Rock.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was 18 years old, obviously not married, didn't have any real responsibilities. It was a chance just to travel around all these counties. It's not like I made a lot of money. I made $7 an hour, but
which back then, I mean, my first job I think was like $6.75, and the guy slid the Post-it note across the table to me. Was like, "We're going to pay you this," and minimum wage was like $5. So I was like, "I'm in. I am rich. I am rich."
Right. No, I remember, and this wasn't my first job. That's another story, but first real job, I guess.
We don't have time for that story today. I'm kidding.
It may be important.
Oh, okay.
To
Maybe
we do. To the party
Maybe
starting.
We do.
So anyway, we travel around, and we were just like living in hotel rooms, bouncing from county to county.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, running drops during the day, hanging out with your buddies. We were all young in age and all similar interests, and so you're hanging out with a bunch of people you knew. And, of course, then technology took over the world, and we just happened to be kind of on the forefront of that. And 21 years later, I woke up, and that was still my career path. What started as just trying to figure out what I want to do with my life had become my life, and we had grown that from humble beginnings also in Southwest Little Rock to the 13th largest technology integrator in North America. I had a chance to become a partner in that business in 2011, 10 or 11, and we mainly grew it organically, but did make 5 or 6 small acquisitions to grow that company, and then sold it in 2019, January of 2019.
Man, you made that sound really easy.
Well, you know, it's funny. The cliche statement of you work 20 years and then you wake up and you're an overnight success is really true. And I've had that conversation with a lot of people where you really don't know what you're doing until the end, and you've
just
done
building
it.
Something
you're just
up.
doing something. You're doing the things you love to do, or hopefully love to do, and doing it with people you love to do it with, and then hopefully it turns out to be something successful. But oftentimes you hear stories, if you start out with the sole intent of ending that way or monetizing it, it never works out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We started for the right reasons, and it just happened to work out.
Doing good work.
Yeah.
So in the process of that, so this whole like mergers and acquisitions and like I'm going to sell my company thing. So you actually left the company though, right? At one point, right? You're like, this is not working out. You left. You went to Alltel was it at the time.
Worked at Alltel
then you
for a
came
year.
back, and so there was kind of like a back and forth, and then you had the opportunity.
You really did some research here.
No, you told me the whole story. We had coffee once. Remember? Did you forget about
having
coffee with me?
I forgot. I
forgot about having coffee with me.
I usually leave that part out of my story, so I'm kind of impressed. You should have said yes.
Yes, I did my research.
Right. I heard it in a bar.
Yeah, I heard it in a bar. You
Somebody
were sitting
was
at the other end.
Somebody was writing a book. And
called a place and time.
That's
he told me
funny.
his story.
Right.
So you left, and then kind of came back, and you had the opportunity to buy the company. And then there was a point in there, I remember you telling me a while back, where you guys thought you were going to sell the company.
Yep.
And it didn't work out.
Yeah, that's right. So we had never really talked about collectively selling the business. And so there were 3 of us in the business at that time that were partners. One gentleman who's quite a bit older than us and already experienced much success in his own right and is still a very successful businessman in all of Arkansas, not just Central Arkansas. And then 2 of us that were active in the business day to day. He focused mainly on finance and kind of the back office support stuff, and I focused on the operational side of the business, and we complemented each other very well. And so we had this opportunity as you grow. I mean, everybody's business, every industry is the same. People start kind of calling and saying, we'd be interested strategically in potentially buying your business. Those calls aren't uncommon at all. And so we never really entertained it, never talked about it, but somebody finally called that we kind of knew and said, we'd be interested in kind of courting you guys and seeing if it's something you'd be interested in. And you're kind of foolish if you don't listen, if you've never listened, because you kind of learn a lot about your business by going through the process anyway.
Yeah.
And so you get emotionally tied to that. Because
and you flew out to Vegas.
Yeah,
or
we
something,
go out for a
and
conference, happened to meet people.
Yeah.
And we were going out there anyway. We didn't just fly out there for that, but we were going out there anyway. It worked out well. And we were like, yeah, we'd definitely entertain it. And they said, yeah, this is a surefire deal. No way around it. And you kind of get excited about it, even though
You didn't even really want it in the beginning.
No, we didn't want it at all. And there's a bunch of emotion tied to all of that when you really pour your heart and soul into something for so many years, because you're personally tied to the business. You're personally tied to all the people in the business. It's just a tough decision to make, and it impacts a lot of people, not just yourself. So we weren't real jazzed about it. But then you kind of emotionally get tied to the fact that, wow, somebody really sees the value in what we've done. And so this really has great potential. And they gave us some crazy number, and I mean, probably not crazy, but crazy to us because we were very humble people.
Yeah, trying to cable.
Exactly. And so they were like, "Yeah, it's a done deal, pretty much verbally, and it'll be a crazy number." And so, like, we came back and we were trying to prepare for that emotionally and business wise, and never heard another word.
God.
And so it was just like, it was a great lesson for us as individuals and as business people, though, because it's really kind of a microcosm of how the world works anyway. You know, so many people overpromise and underdeliver or don't stand by their word. And nothing against those people. Things change, and it's not like we had a contract. I'm not saying that.
But hell, they could have called.
But just
damn.
At least pick up the damn phone.
Yeah, and say like, sorry, dude. We found somebody else to date.
So what we had to get past that. And then it helped us to, because we learned a lot about our business as we were thinking through it, about things we really needed to tighten up, or now what I call in my business now, kind of cleaning your house up and getting it ready to sell. No different than anything. You kind of want to tighten everything up and get things right and clean up your books. And it just made our business even better. And so for the next 4 or 5 years, we were able to do that. And what's funny is we never once looked or entertained at selling, even when it ended up happening. Like, we never went out and talked to anybody.
Like, the people came to you.
Yeah, they came to us. The same kind of deal happened when it actually did go through.
Were you kind of like, wah-wah at first? Like, well, maybe.
Yeah, so the exciting thing about it, and it's a crazy story, and I'm not telling anything that's secret because it's all documented, but it was kind of a crazy story because there's a huge disparity in that technology space. There's a couple of big players, like multi-billion-dollar companies in the security space, and then there's a couple of them that are in the hundreds of millions, and there's a huge gap, and then there's a whole lot of them in like the $1 million revenue range. And so we had captured kind of a sweet spot in the middle of that, where we had 6 offices in 4 states and had built this huge labor force and technology force where we did everything from anything low voltage, and I could bore everybody with a whole bunch of that information, but anything low voltage, no subcontractors, we did it all in-house. So we used to say you had one throat to choke and kind of one point of accountability and responsibility, which is what people like. You know, you want to call somebody and you want them to be able to handle things, not have to call 10 people. And so we had developed that and had a good geographical position where we were. And so, they called and said, we're the largest independently owned security company located in Florida, and we want to buy you guys. And we listened because they were very much like us. And then they actually sold to ADT, which spun off a commercial business unit. And that's a whole nother story of how that all takes place. But ADT, everybody knows, is the residential company now in solar. They spun off a commercial division, and we were the first acquisition they made as a commercial division because they saw the value in technology in the commercial space, just like they have in the residential space. Obviously a huge security company, great security company, and have done great work. They still have the offices that we had at that time, and have done wonderful.
I was going to tell you not to tell that story, but I didn't think you were going to listen anyway. So
what now?
Well, I told you not to tell the story about your first job, and then when you were like, that's a whole other story. So I was going to say, don't tell it, and then I figured you'd just be like, screw you, I'm going to tell it anyway.
Well, no. The only reason it's a cool story is my very first job was...
I love you.
Here we go. See, this is why this is going to go. I don't know what the timeline is, but this is going to go on forever. Right. So my very first job, which is only relevant and fun to the story because it's kind of unique, and it really did shape some of how I got to this point, is grew up in Southwest Little Rock. My dad by trade is a mechanic. My mom worked in sales and office management for like logistics and trucking companies before that was cool. And
before that was cool.
Yeah, right. You know, like now people say logistics is like super cool. Yeah,
fancy. Like and then it was like, wait, you're a truck driver?
Yeah, 18-wheeler. She's like, well, I don't really drive one, but I do know what a CB is.
Are you on dispatch? Are you on CB radio?
Yeah, breaker.
Do you have a CB radio handle?
No, I feel like I had one at one time.
I did.
Yeah. Snowball.
Yeah,
wow.
My papa had CB radios, and then we had one in our house, and then he had
like
a big
you gotta have the antenna. Oh yeah,
and it was like Snowball, right. Come in, 10-4.
That's when you know it's like before Splash Car Wash, because you're not going through there. Okay, that antenna's gone.
That's hilarious.
So my parents wanted me to go to Catholic high school. in ninth grade. Right.
Yeah.
Catholic high school in ninth grade because
you went to Central.
I did. That's this part of the story, Brooke.
Like,
this
you
part
lie?
of the story.
I'm
No,
like,
I
did
didn't
you
lie. Not about that. So, my parents wanted me to go to Central High School because all you want for your kids is a better opportunity than you had, right?
Yeah.
And so they thought the way of accomplishing that
Was
successful
private school.
was through education
Yeah.
and private school. The challenge with that was I didn't care anything about any of that stuff, number one, and it was sending me to a different world than I was coming back home to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so, but
You're
what
living in Southwest Little Rock, whole different
Wakefield,
culture.
absolutely different culture, very diverse. I had a wonderful upbringing. It was great. But then they send me to Catholic high school, which is the most private of private schools at the time. All
Yeah.
boys. Got to wear a tie every day. I mean, I didn't even know anybody that owned a tie, and I'm being for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, the preacher at church,
right.
maybe.
When we
Yeah.
went to funerals, we wore dark jeans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was it, and that was before that was cool. So, so yeah, I go to this whole different world, and I didn't care anything about being there, and so I didn't perform very well because I didn't want to be there. Not that I would have performed well anyway academically,
But
but
there
I
was
just didn't.
just-
I didn't want to do that, and so as a punishment or as a way to try to prove to me how valuable that was, I had to pay my own tuition.
To Catholic high school,
Catholic high
that
school.
you didn't want to go to.
That I didn't want to go to. And so here I was in ninth grade at 14 years old, responsible for $170 a month. Well, the only way I could pay that is to get a job, but I was too young
in
to
like
get a
what,
job.
1952 or what
Don't
year
start
was
with
this?
me. Don't start with me. Walk to school or carry your lunch. Yeah. So this was 1994. So I went to work at Quality Foods
Yeah.
on their yard. I couldn't work there because I was only 14, but I went to work on their yard for a guy that had the contract to wash out all of those food trailers.
Okay.
And so every Saturday, my mom would take me down there and drop
'Cause you
me
couldn't
off.
drive.
I couldn't drive.
But you had to pay the tuition.
But I had to pay the tuition. She would drop me off at 7 a.m., and I would work from 7 a.m. until noon and make $5 an hour cash.
Killing
so
it.
I'm going to let you do the math. 5 times 5, 25. 2 times a weekend, I would get $200 a month.
And you
it
got
cost
30
me
bucks. You got 30 bucks
Cost me
left.
170. Well, it didn't change anything with regards to how I performed academically because I got out of there.
Shit
Obviously,
didn't work.
right? That didn't work. That part did not work. But I do tell my parents all the time. The lesson was, and what ended up being the most valuable thing, not the education, was a word that I'm trying to coin here. So y'all don't steal
Are
my
you
phrase
going to like
here.
trademark it or something?
I'm trying to. Y'all don't. Social navigation. Because I was in a very blue collar space, which is the world I'm familiar with, and came up in my neighborhood. And then when I got that
And your
job,
profession.
now,
And when
yeah.
you're pressure washing
That's
the...
right.
I feel
And
like
so-
I'm doing a lot of this today, the
Yeah,
antenna.
no, that,
then
and that's
down
all spot
here.
on. Yeah, that's spot on. Just
there,
yeah, right.
there it is. Shit.
So you have this, and then you're going to Catholic high school, but it opened me up to a whole nother world of
Learning
people.
how to... This is who I am here.
Social navigation, how to navigate in every environment.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, some
Social
others have heard it. I'm afraid
yeah.
somebody's going to really steal that. I feel like that's really a
We should
decent word.
hashtag it.
I know. I feel like it's a good phrase.
It is. It is.
And it's true.
When I was a school teacher, they would talk a lot about the social classes. You've got poverty and the middle
Right.
class and wealth and what that looks like from an entertainment perspective and all the things that's not even about money. And they say that you can't move more than one social class and stay there long term. By and large, it's very difficult because the cultural norms are so different.
Right.
And so, but you do have to be able to operate at different,
right.
especially if you're in business or in any kind of public
Yeah.
service. So how do you learn how to, that's good.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
I think I was forced to do it. I've always been
Yeah.
pretty inclined to talk to people and just kind of listen and
Yeah.
try to adapt to the environment.
and find
But-
out about a place and time.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it was just fascinating to me, even at an early age, that I just recognized and put a lot of value on people
Yeah.
and understanding that really people are what will take you kind of where you
Yeah.
want to go. It's not what you know necessarily. It's
Is it-
more who you know.
It is.
Yeah.
And how you cultivate those relationships.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So you talked about, in the beginning, kind of how you're zoomed to, okay, now we sold the business,
Right.
right? Which I know a lot of people listening, and for me, before I had gotten to know you as a friend, I had no knowledge of how that space worked. And so for people that are listening and they're like, I don't even know what mergers and acquisitions means.
Correct.
And B, how in the world would someone sell a business?
Yep.
That's what you've kind of built your profession on right now.
Yeah.
Is kind of help that, and among other things, and helping people fill that void there. So tell us a little bit about what that looks like when you, like, say someone wanted to meet with you and go, hey, I have a business, but I don't even know what to do with it. Do I grow it? Do I sell it? Do I quit it? What does that look like?
Yep. Okay. And I work with people doing all of those things you just mentioned. It's not just M&A work or mergers and acquisitions work, but it's planning an exit strategy for your business.
What is an exit strategy?
So it could be a lot of different things. It could be planning an exit where you, over a course of time, sell stock or give stock or let somebody earn out stock that's in your business. It could be a pass down to a family member, so a legacy program. It could be selling it outright. Could be management type buyouts or private equity firms. So there's a lot of different things, but most people, and we're all guilty of it, me included, start a business and you put all this effort into building a business plan so that you know how the business is going to take off.
To start it.
That's correct.
But and
and I think part of it is a sense of doubt in all of our minds that is my idea really that good, and is my business really going to take off? And what happens is you get so busy working on the business and in the business and growing it that you wake up one day, kind of like I said, you work so hard for 20 years and then it's an overnight success. You wake up and you have something of value there, but you really don't have anything in place in case something were to happen.
And as a leader, it's our job to steward that onto something else.
That's
Otherwise,
exactly
it was
right.
it's not all for nothing, but you know what I mean? Like all for nothing. Like what now?
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. And I tell people that all the time. Every single person that's a business owner or entrepreneur will exit their business at some point.
Whether by choice or not.
That's exactly right. So why would you not make a plan that is going to impact something that for most people oftentimes is the most valuable thing they have ever built? Why would you not put together a plan so that it goes where you want it to go and you make the decisions around it?
Do you find that their answer to that, or their answer would be to that, is they just don't know how?
Yeah, I think oftentimes that is part of it, and I think it's something we don't talk about enough. I think people are no different than a lot of things. We've grown up, everybody has, being taught that you don't talk about money, you don't talk about how much you make, you don't talk about religion and politics.
Death.
And all those. That's right. Because the same thing could be said about your funeral service or graveside. If you want that, why would you not go ahead and pay for it now? It's going to be cheaper now than when you hopefully
get the leopard casket you want. I'm putting this on air. If I'm not buried in a leopard casket, everybody listening to this is going to be haunted. Okay. Just saying. I mean, I don't have to be buried actually, like as long as it's at the funeral and it's like leopard and like fabulous. So that's very important to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on film. Yeah.
But you got but you got to talk about it and plan for it. And do you think too that there's that fear of the end? Because like for a business owner, so it's not that I'm not talking about the fear of the leopard casket.
No, I understand.
However, but like, so say you are 20 years into a business, you built a business, and it's the fear of the end, because what am I going to do now if I don't do what I've been grinding to do for so long? Yeah,
I do think that's part of it. But the other thing that I think is kind of contradictory to that is most business professionals have some sort of life insurance. Mm-hmm. So you've already taken at least a step.
Like a financial step.
That's right. Yeah. So why not just complete that process?
Yeah, I love
but again, I think most people just don't talk about it. So if anybody's listening, when they are listening, and everybody that's listening, do buy-sell agreements, tie all those things together, and plan your exit strategy so that you control the exit.
So if they are not in Central Arkansas,
Yep.
Okay, maybe they're not here and they don't have access to you. I mean, I'm sure that you could Zoom or something like that,
absolutely.
right? But what kind of person are they looking for to help them? Is it a lawyer? Is it just somebody like you who happens to be a guy who now knows it? Or, I mean, you know? I mean, like, I trust you. I know you. Like, you know all of these things, but it's like, okay, well, it's not a doctor and it's not a pharmacist, and like, but because like, what is that role?
Yeah, no, great question there too. And I engage with a lot of those different fields as well.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm the end all be all for sure.
Yeah.
And there's other people that do this. So CPA firms that focus on it.
Okay.
Accounting firms and bookkeeping firms that focus on it. Investment bankers. So people like the Edward Jones franchises or advisors of the world do that kind of stuff. Attorneys do help with will and trust. Profiling and building. So it's really a combination of people, but finding somebody that you know and trust and have a good rapport with and can and feel comfortable with is exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I engage with all those people in that I make introductions all the time to CPA and accounting firms that I think would work well for the type person that in business that I'm working with, attorneys that I think would mesh well, and so I just have a good pool of people, because again, it's more about, I know let's talk to these people over here for a minute.
Do we need to stop with the birds?
Is there something going on, guys?
It's the birds. Do you hear the birds?
Which Avacado just ran through an aesthetic structure.
Do we need to pause for the birds?
I mean, they're not going away.
Bird.
So there's these birds outside my house right now. We're just going to throw it in here. And so if you hear birds in the background,
Right.
we did not add cool sound effects today. There's like a migration of blackbirds all over the place here. So we're just going to have a little nature base added into here. Okay. All right, there it is.
Just out here in the wilderness.
Yeah, we're just
just out here in the wilderness.
in my fancy new chair.
We're out here with the leopards.
In the wilderness. The leopard casket. I want faux fur, so I don't need any
Faux
PETA
fur.
on me, okay? No PETA on over here. Okay, so this is what you've done is remarkable, and congratulations on the
Thank
sale
you.
of your business.
Yep.
I didn't say that, but I really do mean that because that's something that's goals, for
Yep.
people. I'm not trying to sell my business, so don't go say I did, but there's
I
that.
know a guy.
Yeah. Blue collar.
Shameless plug.
There
I
you
know a
go.
guy.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. That's what we're here for. So tell us about you outside of work because you're actually
Yep.
kind of an incredible person to hang out and be with.
I am?
Yeah. You're like one of the funniest people I've ever met. Really, yeah.
Again,
He's, like,
here we
super
go.
quick,
Yeah,
super
here we
quick.
go. So I'm married, and I tell people this all the time too. I'm not even the smartest person in my own house. My wife is amazing, and she's
She
a
is pretty
financial
awesome.
advisor, super intelligent, and also very fun. And so her, and then I have a son who's 15, Drake, who's a sophomore at Benton High School. And so between the two of them, I like to tell people they keep me on my toes, literally and figuratively, because I'm only 5'5", she's 5'9". He's taller than me. I won't say how much taller, but he is taller than me. And so
he would love to talk about the inches.
he tells me every day.
Yeah,
He tells me every day when he's putting his arm on top of my head, like, yeah, what are you gonna do there, little guy?
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, you're
like,
grounded.
Yeah, you're grounded. Give me
Right.
your phone.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're not getting a truck.
You're right. You won't get a vehicle.
Yeah,
So
there's
there's that without a gas card. Yeah.
Without a gas
Yeah,
card.
right, exactly. So we spend a lot of time traveling around, doing things together, sporting events. Caitlin and I love to travel, my wife. I like fitness. She works out a lot. She was an instructor for a long time.
That's how we met.
That is true. The
Oh my
newlyweds.
gosh, I forgot to bring
Yeah,
about
the
that. So one
newlyweds.
day, this
It's a great team,
the
though.
the one and only CrossFit competition I've ever done. It's
Yeah,
the
me
only
too.
One, yeah,
Yeah,
and
me
that
too.
I will ever do.
Yeah.
David and I ended up being on a team together.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had a common friend, Mike.
Yep.
It's our common friend, and we got another lady that, God bless her
Yep.
soul, that we talked her into being with us.
I know.
And we competed in a CrossFit competition, and so you had to have a name and like a group name.
Yep.
And you probably came up with it. I don't know. Who
I have
came
no
up with it.
idea, but I do think about it now, like newlyweds, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
cute.
Pretty,
That's funny.
Pretty clever.
Yeah, because we'd never done a WOD as a workout of the day, like
Yeah.
CrossFit thing, and so we were new at it. So we were the newlyweds, and we had like shirts and stuff. And our entire goal, the whole competition, was not to get last.
Right.
And we literally got next to last.
That's right.
And we like.
But it was down to the wire.
It
it was a foot race to the end,
Yes,
literally.
It was
Right.
literally.
Yeah.
This damn rowing. and
But I
this
usually don't
race
tell
and-
people the whole story. I just like to tell people that at one time I was a competitive CrossFit athlete. It's not untrue, though. I mean,
God.
competitive CrossFit athlete.
gonna add that
And
to
so,
my
right.
resume.
I mean, you got people
Yeah.
like Rich Froning, and then you
Yeah,
got kind
you.
of us.
Yeah,
you got
us.
us. And so there's
The
that.
one-timers.
Right. Yeah, whatever. You only have to do things one time to be kind of an expert at it.
competitive CrossFitter.
I mean, it was a competition.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you brought up height earlier, so I'm ready to do my trivia in the trenches. Okay,
well, let
ready?
me go back to newlyweds,
I
though.
mean, I don't know.
No, because what's funny about
Is this
that...
the David Roberts podcast?
No, it's
okay,
not. It's
Go
yours.
ahead.
Is
I'm
that
good.
okay?
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Go.
it says dialogue.
He's looking at my
I'm looking
note
at the
sheet.
list. It
Yeah.
says dialogue, so this is
Shit.
fine. Yeah. So this is fine. Place and time. And here we are. So Brooke and I, the very first part, we were partnered up, separate from the team.
Oh, yeah.
It was us two and then them two. And the reason it was them two is because they were stronger than we were and probably in better shape than we were.
And we were
But
we were like short
yeah,
and the same height and like the.
but we were faster
Yeah.
than they were. And so the first, I don't know
not
if you
fast. We didn't say fast.
No,
We
just
said
faster than them.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you remember this, but I distinctly do. They had an announcer there, Tony, right? That's
Okay.
at the Mall Mill CrossFit.
Okay.
And he announces most of the local CrossFit competitions. I didn't know this at the time. I've learned this since.
Okay.
But we noticed they had an announcer.
Oh.
And we took off out of there, and you had to carry a medicine ball. Remember?
Oh, yes.
And it was
Actually,
a weighted run.
You go all the way around the
You go
River
wa-
Market Pavilion.
And we were in the lead when he announced it. And so we did get our names called and our team name called
at some point.
in the run because we took off out of there like a
Like-
leopard that you're going to be buried with.
And we were sloth-like on the end.
Oh, I mean, that was the only time our names got called. Other than
Newlyweds in the
Yeah,
league.
That's it. Yeah. Here they come. Yeah. And then later on, we got our names called because it was like, I wish I would hurry up and finish because we need to go home.
Everyone
Yeah.
needs to go
It's
home
supposed to be a
and-
one-day competition, guys, not 2 days. Let's go. So anyway, okay, I'll stop.
That was our CrossFit
I'll quit.
story.
Yeah, I'll quit taking over. Go ahead.
Can I do trivia now?
Yeah, go ahead.
That'd be cool. All right, so something we do.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Something we may have a new moderator on the podcast, so let's see how that's going. So something we do here for you guys if it's your first time is called Trivia in the Trenches, and I like to ask our guests a related question to them or their lives.
I'm nervous.
And so I got a consultant on this question. So Jason Brown and I actually strategized
Oh, y'all
together.
came up with this together?
Yes,
Now
yep.
I'm really nervous.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So he helped me put a little input in this. So here is your Trivia in the Trenches question. Okay, so Americans are no longer the tallest in the world.
I don't know if I should be offended or not. This is some shit.
Who is?
Ooh.
Only one person's ever answered Trivia in the Trenches correctly, so you'll be the second one. So I hope
Who
you
was
get it.
that person?
I'm not telling you.
Oh.
Listen to the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so, and you mean by country?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So like Americans are no longer the tallest, but who is?
Swedish.
No.
I felt like that was a good
Nope.
guess.
But I mean, I feel like it's not far from there. Actually, not really good at geography that
Oh.
way, so maybe not. The Netherlands.
Yeah, that's right there. Yeah. I'm essentially the same. So we'll give me a half point.
In the 18th century, yeah, close.
I get a half point.
Yeah, right.
The Netherlands, really?
Yeah. In 18th and 19th centuries, America was home to the tallest people in the world. But today, it goes to Netherlands. Dutch men and women average 6 feet 5 inches.
Wow.
6 feet. Men are 6 feet. Women 5 feet and 6.5 inches.
So I'm still short. Yeah, even for the
And
Dutch
U.S.
women.
men average 5 feet 9 inches. Still short.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
duh.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And women average nearly 5 feet 4 inches. You still short?
No, I'm taller than they
Yeah,
are.
you got it.
Yeah.
4.5.
It depends on which convenience store I'm
inches.
leaving.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those things are
Convenience
off,
stores.
and I measure
The
myself
bank,
on the
the
door.
bank.
Yeah, that's
Tippy toe walk through there.
that's right. I'm like, oh, I'm growing.
And they say the reason is because of our lack of access to health care, nutritional deficiencies from eating too much sugar and fat, and not
Wow.
enough fruits and vegetables.
But what would be the explanation on the other side for people outgrowing us? Because I would think our health care and stuff
They're
is better.
healthier.
Oh, interesting.
Wouldn't that be if we're not
I don't
healthy?
know.
They're healthier.
But I do think it's fascinating that, and I'm agreeing with you.
Well, I mean, it's true.
I know.
So you can't
no,
disagree.
I'm not disagreeing with
Yeah.
you. But I think during the Civil War, I heard this, I think, one time, the average male height for an American was like 5'5".
Yeah, it was
And so it's gotten
taller.
right. It
But
has
just
gotten
maybe
taller,
not
but
at
what
the rate
older-
as other people.
That's crazy.
You think gravity like pulls us down?
I feel like it does me.
Something.
I don't know about other people, but I feel like it does me.
How tall are you?
5'5", I think.
And a half?
5'5"
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
I think I like to throw that in there,
Yeah.
but I'm not real sure.
Like maybe you used to be, and now that you're getting old.
Don't start.
Er.
That's is that okay? Let's wrap up. That's
Peepaw.
Peepaw. Yeah.
The host David Roberts says we're going to wrap up. So, but we're not.
No, just 'cause you're picking
wait.
on me.
Just wait. All right. So, what was the last thing you Googled?
Ooh, that just happened today.
Well, I mean,
I know. No, I'm trying to. No, I think it was on my. She was handing me my phone.
yeah, you want to look at it?
No. What did I? Oh, I know exactly what I googled. A NAICS code for a business.
Oh, yeah. What, can you
Yep.
tell us what industry it is?
Marine water jet.
Marine water jet.
That's what I said.
Is that like a boat company?
Yeah, like a propulsion,
Oh, like a rocket.
kind of. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Internal propulsion.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. What do you do for fun? You said fitness, but what else?
Yeah, I like to run. Like to go places and eat. Kind of not really a
Is that
foodie, but
is that fitness?
no, that's a good point. But you have to fuel your fitness, and I
That's
feel
it.
like I've been dirty bulking for years.
Yes. Dirty bulking.
Yeah. So I like to run. I like sports and being
Yeah.
active
Yeah.
outside and
And you're a foodie-ish.
yeah, ish. I mean, I'm kind of a creature of habit too.
Where's
so
somewhere you've eaten lately that was really good?
Rober,
Yeah, right? In downtown Benton.
unbelievable.
I mean, I cannot tell you how great it was. What'd you get for your entree?
So I've been there several times,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I usually I've had most of the things, but I usually default to the braised short rib.
Really? Mm-hmm. Justin got the burger and loved
The burger's
it. My husband
unbelievable.
Justin.
Yep.
And then I'm not vegan, but sometimes I like to practice being
Yeah,
vegan.
give it a try.
Yeah, give it a go. And I got the vegan pasta with shrimp. See, there's how I tried it. And then
Yeah.
I put the shrimp on it. Oh my God. It was like a cross between, it's the coconut cream sauce is like what it was called.
Yep.
But it's like not Alfredo, not a butter sauce. It was like literally the best.
Yep.
It was amazing.
I've talked to a lot of people, and I was guilty of it too, where we had a few other great restaurants here, and you'd go to them, but we had just a few. And so when we would do date night or get together with groups, we would always kind of default to going to Little Rock for better food choices.
Yeah,
More, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, other than we would just kind of default
But now
going
we
there.
have it.
I've been telling so many
people that we've opened
Yeah.
up. I went to Burger Shack the other day. I thought
Yep.
they just had burgers.
Nope, they got
don't.
all kinds of stuff.
Had
Chicken
chicken spaghetti
That's
yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rober's unbelievable. So if you haven't gone there, you have to go there. Craig and Heather
Yeah.
Rowe are doing a wonderful job.
They pay you for that?
No, but
Yeah.
I'm giving them a shout out here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get a shirt or something.
Yeah. Like a taco.
They
chip
know
shirt or
I'm a
something.
supporter.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's
great.
unbelievable.
I haven't had the bacon rack though. There's
It's
like some sort of bacon rack thing or something, like a clothesline with bacon and like dripping.
You get 4 different kinds of bacon. So it's coated on the outside with a different flavor. It's like called a bacon flight.
Bacon flight.
Yep, it's really good. The drinks are really good.
Yeah.
It's just a good spot.
Back in the bar.
Yep.
Bar.
Met some cool people there in the bar, actually. Yeah.
Lounge.
Believe it or not.
It's actually a lounge.
They have both.
Oh, that they do have both. I haven't been in the bar. I've only been in the
Let
lounge.
me just go ahead and give you all just a quick. They did not pay me this.
Okay.
You can go in the lounge and you can get a charcuterie board and have drinks, kind of like a speakeasy, and just hang out. You can go in the bar and get full service, or you can sit in the dining area.
How about that?
So,
Yeah.
Rober, downtown Benton.
That's right.
Heather and Craig Rowe.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Heather on the podcast. Or
You
Craig,
should.
or
They're
both.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
awesome. They
They're
are
great. I
awesome.
only have 2 microphones, so I can only have one of them. So I have to like pull one out of a hat.
What's that song? 2 and a microphone, 2 turntables and a microphone. That's what I thought you were going there.
Are you DJ?
I was going to try there
Yeah,
for a second.
you were doing it for a second. Probably just leave
Bird. We'll just keep that going. Yeah.
No doubt. Okay, tell us what is the bird. I can't even get a straight face here. Okay.
What were y'all expecting today?
No doubt, right? So
Like,
here
you
we
sit here
are.
and try to be serious.
Okay,
I'm ready.
That's not going to work. It's
I'm ready.
going to be so boring. So tell us what you've had this amazing career that I feel like in phase 2 of. Because I feel like, I mean, you're young. You know, I joke about you being old just because you're older than me.
Right.
So make you old. Just,
43, though.
yeah. And a half.
About to be 43. No,
Oh.
I'm 42.
Oh.
Easy.
Got a birthday coming. Should we
June.
say happy birthday?
June.
Happy birthday.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's early. Premature.
Just
Yeah,
wait.
premature.
What are you going to do for your birthday?
Maybe go to Texas for a Rangers-Cardinals game. The Cardinals and the
Oh.
Rangers are playing the weekend of my birthday, and so could go there.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Are you like could go there as in you haven't decided, or could go there you just don't want to tell us?
Haven't decided because I didn't know anything about it until this morning, actually, and my brother-in-law called me and said, hey,
Oh, nice.
and I'm thinking maybe he's wanting to go.
And he's just trying
And
to
he's like,
pawn
hey,
it
but
off
it's on your
ticket.
birthday.
Yeah, so
you know?
you pay.
Like, well, maybe I don't know about that, but maybe I could. His birthday's in June too.
So y'all could
a
be
few
like
days before
dudes
mine.
night.
So, well, no, I imagine we'll have to take at least the children's.
Have to take.
The children's.
Get to take.
Yeah, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I'm just saying at this point,
Yeah.
they're at the age where if you're going somewhere fun like that,
Oh, they wanna
they're
go too.
going.
Yeah, they
they
wanna
are
go
going.
too.
And I don't blame them. I
They
have
wanna,
more
like,
fun
trace back
anyway.
and forth and see if they
I
can
have
see
more
them.
fun anyway.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, yeah, maybe do that for my birthday.
Yeah, that's cool.
Going to Vegas later this month.
Nice. I just went. I
Yeah,
came
I know,
back
I saw
tired
that.
for like a week and a half
Well,
tired.
yeah, it takes 2
Like,
weeks now to get over stuff.
Does
Yeah.
what is that just me or
No,
is it just
that's age.
Vegas or
No, that's
just
age. Yeah,
Just age.
age plus Vegas doesn't go together, and so you're getting older too. But and I won't harp on that too much like you did on me. But you're short and getting older as well. But if you go to Vegas over the age of about 32,
It
over.
hurts. Yeah, it does.
Hurts. Yeah,
It just hurts.
it hurts. You're doing a lot of walk. You're doing a lot of things you just don't normally do. You know, like
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of walking, a lot of
Are you
walking.
trying to say I don't?
No,
walk?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's nowhere around here you're going to walk 4 miles to
No,
go
you're
to.
not.
Right,
And
but
you-
if you
I
go to
mean-
the Stratosphere, it's a long ways down there, but it looks close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything looks close in
That's what I'm
Vegas because
saying.
it's so big, and it's literally like I've been walking for 12
Right.
minutes and I still haven't made it to the next hotel.
Right.
Yeah,
You also don't realize what time it is in Vegas, and so if you're like
Everybody's
me, I'm in
the
bed at 8:30.
clouds,
Right. Yeah.
8:30?
Oh yeah, at the latest.
really?
Try
Oh,
to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Whew.
Yeah.
People.
Go hard, people.
Right,
There it
people.
was. But the clouds, so like the ceilings in Vegas are always light colored.
Yeah.
And they're clouds, so
They
it always
do
looks
that
like
on purpose.
daytime.
I know.
And they're pumping all the oxygen in
I
there. It's a
know.
total trick.
Yeah.
And it
I know.
works. Like a
I'm
charm.
well aware.
Eating breakfast is like 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
I have no clue what time it is.
I lost 5 days there one time. Like I can't get them back. I don't know where they went.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep. I just like I'm seeing all the things that happened in those 5
No,
days.
no, I don't think anything. That's what
You
I'm
don't
saying. I'm just
know.
like, don't know.
Were you at the bar?
Everywhere in Vegas is a bar. Yeah, like you don't have to go anywhere. Like you're
Yeah.
doing the hurricane drink on the street. I'm not doing that, but you can. You know.
Yeah, it's as tall as you.
Yeah,
Just
it's
can't
awesome.
carry it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything goes there.
Yeah,
you know.
it is. I mean, you can find something for anything in Vegas.
At all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Are you going for work or for fun?
We're going for fun. My sister's 40th birthday is actually in the end of this month, March 22nd, and we are going that weekend.
For her birthday.
for
Oh,
her
so you're like
40th.
literally fixing to go. Yeah.
And my son and I are going the weekend before that to Memphis for a Grizzlies game
Yeah. That'll be
and
fun.
gonna hang out. Yeah. So
Good times.
We like to hit a little quick trips here and there, and just
Yeah.
get as much of it in as we can.
So if there was someone else that wanted to go into a profession like yours now,
Yep.
so maybe there's someone that wants to transition out of what they were doing and move into consulting or business, what kind of advice would you give them?
Okay, let's see here. Consulting. So I never really planned to do this myself, so I don't know about like what the career path would be to doing that if you were really trying to like
You're just
plan
kind
to
of a
do it.
badass, so it just
No, I'm
happened?
not. The sun never sets on being a badass. That is true. But no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this just kind of happened for me. But I will say that probably the number one thing I try to tell people is to continue to develop your network
Yeah.
and stay in touch with them and foster the relationships
Yeah.
that you have with people, because
Yeah.
you just never know who and what and where is going to become valuable to you.
Yeah.
And likewise to them. You have to bring value to every situation you're in.
Absolutely.
And so everything's got to be mutually beneficial or it won't last or be sustainable. And so just building that network of people at every single level and doing a good job as you're doing it. I think people could really be a connector, advisor, consultant in any kind of business.
Yeah.
It's really, again, just about leveraging your network and your both personally and professionally, and just forging good relationships.
Social navigation.
Social navigation.
Back to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so you have a couple questions you want to ask me. I heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me refer to my cheat sheet.
Okay.
If y'all haven't been to Rover on.
Oh my God, Heather!
I'm just kidding.
I don't
It's
even
funny
know what
though.
to say at this point.
I was trying to
Just
do my
let it-
voice like William Shatner. It just
It
wasn't
did
working.
not.
It didn't
It
work.
fell
Yeah,
flat.
it didn't.
Let's go back to bird.
That one worked good. So what do you attribute your own entrepreneurial success to? Because I remember when I'm not taking over the podcast, I'm giving you time to think. I remember when you were working for the school district.
Yeah.
And you were racking your brain trying to figure out how to make the step to Empire initially.
Yeah.
And you were scared to death, rightfully
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
and nervous because you're giving up all this comfort and security and reliability in a career path that you knew would be there forever.
Yeah.
To really, like, it's almost like I didn't plan any of this.
That
I'm
was
like,
good. Keep
but
going.
then to go to something that you don't know, the complete unknown, but something you're very passionate about,
Yeah.
and something that was needed in this community,
Yeah.
and you just happen to see that and have the skill set for it. So what do you attribute your success to?
So, I mean, as you said, it's very scary to make a change. Change is always scary, you know.
Right.
And so I think fear is what keeps people maybe from doing that. But for me, it's about the people I've surrounded myself with. So
Yep.
I always knew from the beginning I didn't know enough. Like there was no way I could know it all or do it all. And there was a time where I tried to know and
Yep.
do it all, I will say, and it about killed me. Like literally, I mean, it'll take a toll on your body like
Yep.
nobody's business. And I think anybody that starts a business can attest to, you're going to spend about 5 or 6 years where nothing else happens.
Yep.
Like there's no friendships, there's no relationships, there's hardly any travel. You are nose to the ground going. But in the process of that, realizing if you can hire to your weaknesses
Yep.
and continue to add people to your circle and your team to what you're not good at. Because I wouldn't be anywhere without my team.
Totally agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah. No, that's spot on.
Yeah.
You have to have the right people around you, because very rarely is the person at the top the reason that all that's happening. And the people that think that,
Bet.
yeah, it's just, that's not the reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all the people you have around you. Funny you said fear, because we were talking about that before we started the podcast, before everybody got here. I just had that conversation with Drake, my son, yesterday, about what do you think the reason is that people don't take chances and take the step. And he said for fear of failure. And we
Yeah.
were talking about that I think a lot of people that are successful in the entrepreneurial space have been failures, quote unquote. I'm using
Absolutely.
have been failures at some point in their life.
Yeah.
And so they're not scared of failing because they know what that's like.
Yeah.
And I always resonated with that. Like that never crosses my mind. Failing doesn't cross my mind.
No.
Not that I haven't failed and not that I won't fail again, because I just already know and accept the fact that I will.
Yeah. And it's going to happen, and we just navigate and keep moving
That's-
on, you know?
Navigate.
Social navigator, failure navigator. We could just be all kinds of
what we do.
navigators. Yeah, right? I
Yeah. So
know.
if somebody wants to be a navigator,
Gator.
what they need to do.
Yes, navigator. So when I was in middle school, we had pods. Did you have pods in middle school?
No.
No, you didn't. Okay, you went to.
A little older,
Yeah,
maybe.
okay. Yeah,
It was
just
pre-pod.
a smidge.
It was
Pre-
pre-pod.
Yeah. So and you're in middle school, and there was like the pods, like there were like the banana splits.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and there was
yeah,
a pod
yeah.
that was a navigator. So every time I hear that word, I think about the navigators,
Yeah.
and they were blue, and they were upstairs, and I wasn't on that pod. But anyway, That's all. That was a total random thing.
No, that's perfect.
Anyway, so why some people start a business and some
Yeah.
people don't? I think fear of failure is totally it.
Agree.
I think, too, it has to do with where you're coming from, because as a school teacher, like I had gone to college, I had gotten a master's degree, I was finishing a postgraduate degree, so I had education, I'd been trained in business, I was around business, but there's no way to know it without doing it.
Right.
But I still wasn't making a ton of money.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think
Yeah.
if you're someone coming from like, I'm already making $3 million a year
Yeah.
because I'm on salary and I'm a big CEO, big wig, maybe that's different. But like, I was
Probably.
like, well, I could probably get hired at Walmart as a greeter and still make close to what I was making as a teacher.
Which is unfortunate.
I know it
Yeah.
is. It is. And I'm definitely for our teachers making more money because
Absolutely.
they work really
Yeah,
hard.
they deserve it.
But so it was that moment, and I felt the momentum, and I just felt the calling. Like I felt like God, this is what I was supposed to do, you
Right.
know, and staying in tune with like I call it your internal knowing, you know, and that gut instinct. I'm a gut girl. If you can follow that, is that funny?
I'm a gut girl.
Is that funny? No one's ever laughed.
You're not
at
going to see
before.
that on a shirt. Wrangler butts. Okay, got it. But I'm a gut girl.
gut girl.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This is why I
Sorry.
love you.
Well,
this is
I'm
why I
just
love you.
That took me aback. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Okay.
Not as much as Social Navigator, but yeah, you gut girl's gonna have to wait.
To trademark that. Yeah.
No doubt. No, nobody else will be filing for one.
No,
Nope,
no,
won't
that's
have any
true. Yeah, that's open.
Gutgirl.com.
That's a good point, though.
I know, yeah.
You got to listen
so
to
if
yourself.
You follow like your knowing and stuff, and so we try programs that Empire, or we'll try a new camp for this, and sometimes things take off. And we're like, dang, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then we'll do something else, and it just falls flat, and like nobody signs up, or it never gets any traction, and you just have to go, okay, let's try something else.
Right.
Because the customers we serve today are not the customers we served 5 years ago, and they won't
That's
be the
right.
ones 5 years from now. And the same is true in hiring and all of that. So
Everything.
I can't say to one point that why I said yes, but I also think it was I worked a year and a half full time and kept my salary
Right.
W-2 job while running the business
That's right.
simultaneously. And it got to a point of I can't do this anymore,
Yep.
and I have to pick. And I was going to bet on myself.
Of course, every
you know?
time.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I also think people, and you just touched on it, I think a lot of people outside of the fear aren't willing to make the sacrifices it takes to get something off the
Man,
ground.
right? It
Yeah.
does. And it does. It takes everything you got.
Everything.
Everything you got. I mean, I Christmas and Thanksgiving maybe was the only time I saw people I knew.
Right.
And it wasn't because I just couldn't.
Right.
I was barely surviving just to be able to. The payroll had to be in on Monday, and
Yep.
I'm Sunday night trying to do the
Cramming,
things
yeah.
in there and handwriting checks and taking
Yeah.
pictures of checks to deposit and all that. And
Absolutely.
I didn't even have a real bank account.
Yeah. No, I get
I opened a Capital One online business bank account because I didn't have time to go to a bank to open an
it.
account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody sees that. Now that you've gotten to this point,
Yeah.
people only see the success that comes with
Yeah.
it. And that's what I try to, when I do mentorship stuff with young people or high school students or even some college kids, which is pretty funny that people in college would listen to me because I've never been to one. But that's the one thing that I try to tell them is
Yeah.
you've got to be willing to sacrifice those things.
Almost everything.
Everything. No, that's for real. You got to put everything else on the back burner because this has to be the most important thing to you. And you have to seize the opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of the opportunity because it won't be there
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I was
So you
talking to
gotta
someone
strive.
last week. I don't think it was you because I like to talk to you too. But they were talking about a business being an infant, and so even like literally the first 6 years of a kid's life,
Nurturing.
yeah, you have to hold their hand,
Yep.
wipe their butts. You've got to do everything for them. But it almost happens like after that elementary school age, a
Yep.
business is there too.
That's right.
Like we're in year 9 with Empire, and it's like at 9 years old, it has its own ideas and thoughts, and it's
Absolutely.
an engine, and there's so many people that are contributing that
Yep.
are great. And I've got another business. Our child care business is in like year 6, and
Yep.
so it's a little bit different spot than that business. And if you can view it from those terms and realize that you're not supposed to have it all together at year 2,
That's right.
because the toddlers are literally still trying to learn to talk and walk. Businesses are just the
Yep.
same, getting legs under it.
Yeah, so like 85% of all businesses fail within the first 2 years anyway. So if you get outside of that window, that's the thing I tell people is then you're on the road to sustainability.
Yeah.
It's easy to be successful for a year or two.
Yeah.
It's hard to sustain that success because of exactly what you said. The things you were doing 9 years ago at Empire
Can't do 'em
would
now.
not work today.
No.
And if you're trying to do today, even the greatest ideas you have today in 5 years,
Won't work.
you won't be successful.
Now that
So
continuous.
you have to it's evolution, business evolution, and you got to constantly
There's
be.
you
I
another
know.
one.
I'm sitting here
God,
thinking about.
you're
Yeah,
doing
somebody
it.
please write these down.
Yeah, no doubt. Social Navigator,
Business evolution.
Gut Girl.
Gut
he
Girl,
hates
yeah.
that one. And
No, I don't
Business
hate it.
Evolution. I want it in the book. I want
Right.
it in the place and time. Okay, I want Gut Girl in there. You got it? Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to share with us today?
I don't think so.
No?
Do we
Good?
need to share anything else? What's our time?
I have
How'd
no
we
idea.
do?
No
Oh,
idea. Yeah, 49 minutes.
An hour and 54?
No, it's 150.
Oh.
Oh, no.
It's like,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Boy, we really were going there. Like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Damn, you knew that was a lot
Let me see if I had any more questions for you. Let me refer to my sheet.
that I printed.
I do find, and you touched on, are we in a hurry?
No,
Oh,
go ahead.
I
We'll
do
just cut
think-
out the bad stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I do think it's interesting, and you kind of touched on it, but what do you think this is another question for you. I
Oh.
had two. What do you think
David Roberts podcast.
no, it's not. I'm just saying,
Go.
we're just talking here.
Yeah, dialogue.
We just happen to have mics in our face.
Dialogue.
What do you think the reasoning is, though, between people like yourself who went to school, college I'm talking about, higher education, extremely higher education for you, and then me sitting in the chair beside you who stopped after 12th grade, barely got through that. I like to tell people I graduated, what is it called?
P-ball.
Yeah, I know. They say the second thing to go is your memory.
What's the first? Your looks?
Right.
Shit.
I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, I barely graduated
Okay.
high school. Went to summer school all 4 years. I mean, was not good
Oh,
academic.
you weren't kidding.
No, I wasn't kidding. I carry my transcript half for the last 15 years in my bag. So when I talk to kids,
You mean
I
it.
say, if I can be sitting here halfway successful to the world, you have no excuse
Yeah.
because I did it all wrong. But how do you think people of two different worlds, because there's a lot of examples of that, people like Gary Vee who've gotten famous doing podcasts and a bunch of social media outtake stuff. He's not big on education in the formal sense of the word. But then you have people like yourself that are obviously very smart academically, but also very, very driven.
Yeah.
And so how do you think those two worlds collide to combine to make a good entrepreneur? And which do you think, or do you think one of those is more important than the other?
I definitely don't think one is more important than the other. My drive to higher education, like when I went to school and got my bachelor's degree, I remember my senior advisor on my like honors project that I had to do. He asked me to go to grad school, like you would be a great grad student here, and I was like, grad school, what's that for? You know?
Right.
But the only reason I went to grad school was because as a teacher, that was the only way I could make more money.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had a great experience. I
Right.
learned a lot. It was very beneficial in that sense. But the only driving factor is I just want to make more money. That was
yeah.
it. That was it. There's a salary schedule, and you're either there longer or you got
Right.
more education.
But you
Bam,
had to
I'm
have
in.
the capacity to do it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think one is more important than the other. I think that your upbringing, and I
Yeah.
don't necessarily mean that if you have a bad upbringing or good upbringing, has a lot to do with your work ethic. Because I
Agreed.
think work ethic there's nothing can outwork someone being a hard
Right.
worker.
That's
There's
right.
nothing makes up for that. So you could be the best leader on paper, the best whatever, but if you don't work for it, nothing matters. No matter if you have all this
Agreed.
great business plan, like you said, to get started, but if you don't
Right.
do it. So I think that's more important than anything. And how the two come together, I mean, maybe that's one of life's greatest mysteries, right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, I do think that there's an uptake in the beginning. Like, I think now, had I come out of high school and not gone to business college, I went to the Walton College of
Right,
Business,
yeah.
and we had like smart boards before, when everyone
Yeah.
else still had
Yeah.
like the little transparency films and stuff. It was like they have done an amazing investment up there, but I think that you would have to have some sort of mentor or someone taking you under your wing to help
Yep.
go that way. Like you got with a company, family-owned business,
Yep.
and there was a path for you to advance and to become, and then it didn't, and then you came back,
Right.
you know, and that kind of stuff. But, you know, I mean, how the two come together, I think it has to do with each person, and nobody's going to do it for you.
Right.
So no matter where you want to get, the paths are never going to look the same to get
Agreed.
there.
No,
but
I agree 100%.
if you aren't a hard worker, you're not going to get there anyway. So just, go
Right.
back to the couch.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows a lot of smart people that are lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people know people that aren't very smart, that are
That's
hard
right.
workers.
That are hard
and
and that's my point. Yeah. I mean, it really is.
How do you think the two come together?
No, I
like,
think you're right.
yeah.
I've tried to analyze that myself and come up with it.
I've
And
never really thought about it, but I think I'll put some more thought into that. I like that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm fascinated in having the most fun in professionally in what I do now is sitting with people and kind of hearing their story and how they ended up where they are and how
Yeah.
they grew their business. I mean, it's just fascinating to listen to people, and you just
Because
never
they're
know.
all different.
Everybody's different. You never know what all's around you and what people do and the paths that they've taken. And again, I think that goes back to just building such a cohesive network of people so that you kind of identify people that could help you in any
Yeah.
challenge that you may face. And you're going to face a bunch of them, and you're going to fail, and you got to overcome all that stuff.
Absolutely.
You know?
Something I've been analyzing in my not my professional career to speak, but more like socially and philanthropy side is if my pipes burst, or if something I need I called you this week because I needed some access points ran for our co-working space. I know who to call.
Right.
When you take people that are in poverty or they've been raised and not guided or mentored through social navigation, right? How do you break? You like that? That was good, wasn't it? Yeah. See, blue collar
You're right.
consulting.
It's
You heard
already
it
out
here.
there. Right.
Blue collar, David Roberts. I'm just trying to be like you when I
Right.
grow up. But how do you take those people and break those cycles of generational, classism, and get them to where they can build these things? And that is through education,
Right.
Formal or not.
Agreed. Yeah.
But definitely through education.
Yep, I don't disagree with that. And I also think it helps people to be able to see people that come from that environment that they can identify and relate to that have overcome. And so I think that's key, is taking people that have seen success even coming from those environments and then take them back to those environments so that they can relate to the people that are in it right then.
Yeah, and know that it's possible.
That's right. Because they got to see it. They got to see people that look, feel, act like them that have done it.
Yeah.
Instead of just listening. I mean, you remember when we weren't in school together, but you remember in school, like if you had a guest speaker, oftentimes it was like, here we go. Like, this isn't going to be good.
He's in a suit and tie.
Yeah, you already know what that person.
Know.
You already know what they look like. You have it in your mind right now because that was like the stereotypical person of success. And now I feel like successful people look very different now than they did 25 years ago. It is cool.
So cool.
It's sort of the evolution of the business world in general, where you have this identifiable
business evolution.
I know.
Yeah.
You have this identifiable look of what that looks like, or in your mind you do. But now fast forward with all the social media and the monetization using the phones and electronics, that there are people that have gotten successful and really done great things and give back to the communities and have really changed the world that look very different than what they did a long time ago.
Love it.
I know, me too.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Don't act like we didn't just mess up. We've got to keep it 100 here.
This is called getting real in the trenches.
Right.
We should keep it real. So I forgot David's outro. So here we go. So tell us, if people want to know more about you, where can they find information about you?
So bluecollargrowth.com is my website.
Okay.
Blue Collar Consulting on Facebook. Those are probably the best ways to reach me. Or my email is bluecollargrowth@gmail.com.
Yes, yes. And all jokes aside, how much I love to kid with you, because I feel like we're cut from the same cloth almost. You're just a little funnier. But, you know, a little older too. But, yeah, there you go. But in all honesty,
slide in the old thing one last time. Right.
Yeah,
in the outro.
The work. The work that you do is great.
Thank you.
For businesses, for companies, for our community. Yep. So thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And again, until next time. I got it right. What was her question? Spider?
You probably gave her an easy one.
To a cricket. To a cricket. Was a roach. Yeah, she grew up on a farm.
Okay.
She's like a farm girl, so I gave her like a farm question. So like with Sarah Hare, I gave her a food question.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I told Jason, I'm like, so I really just want, I was like, okay, I need help figuring out the trivia for David. I was like, because